So what happens to your spine when your head drifts forward from its normal position into a forward head posture? So I'm holding a 12-pound medicine ball right here, and I'm holding that because the average human head weighs between 10 and 14 pounds. So for every inch that the head drifts forward from its normal position, it adds around 10 to 14 pounds of stress on the spine. So this is significant because if the head is drifted forward into a position of 1.5 inches forward, which is a very common finding that we have in our office, then that functionally turns the head into feeling as if it weighs closer to 30 pounds. So before I go into a ton of detail, I want to share a story from around 15 years ago, which is around the first time I noticed that this wasn't just an adult problem anymore. So when I was in my young 20s, I was giving baseball lessons, and one of the players that I was working with had a younger brother who was on an iPad for the entire hour that I was giving this kid a lesson. The entire time, the kid was hunched over like this, and I couldn't help but keep looking over and seeing this kid and thinking, like, why isn't he just being a kid and exploring and playing and helping us pick up baseballs and being attentive to his brother? Why is he just stuck like this, like a zombie? And I know that if you're on your phone right now, you probably just tried to correct your posture or go back like this. But one thing that's definitely happened over the past 15 years is that there's been more and more tech, there's more and more things that bring us into this position like this here. That moment really stuck with me, and it was really one of the first times where I had to step back and think, are we going in a good direction right now? Is the technology that we have going to actually help our physical frames in the future? And I realized at that moment, no, it was only going to compound and continue to progress. So with that said, this made me realize that this kid wasn't alone. This wasn't an isolated incident, and I probably needed to change course with what my career looked like so that I could be able to help people in a way that felt more congruent. And 15 years ago, a kid that was 5 years old would now be, around 20 years old. So this is something that's been happening for long enough that it's been showing up in more than just adult spines and people that we'd expect to start to see come forward into this position as they start to get older. So with that said, who does this actually affect and why should you care? So forward head posture affects every single age group. You think of it more so in an older population where things are starting to round more forward, but it's happening in desk workers, it's happening in parents, it's happening with kids now. If you're dealing with anything like headaches, neck tension, arm or hand numbness or tingling, or any sort of postural fatigue throughout the day and you haven't found answers, then this video is definitely for you. So what's forward head posture actually feel like in the short term? So the sustained load of this ball being farther stretched out, so similar to what would happen if my head drifted forward, is that immediately as this gets out, there's going to be muscles behind me that are going to start working harder to try to stabilize around the spine and counteract that weight coming forward like this. So that sustained load on the spine causes these muscles in the posterior neck or behind the head to go into a contraction. So usually this is something that you'll feel more pronounced later throughout the day if there is a significant amount of forward head posture. And beyond the muscular effects, the nerves that exit the cervical spine control everything in your head. So they go to your eyes, your ears, your nose, your throat, your sinuses. They go to your thyroid, they regulate the immune system function, and they also go to all the muscles around the neck, into the shoulders, into the arms and hands. So when they're compressed and when it's affected how brain communicates through the spinal cord out all the nerves that exit the spine going to all those places, and it may not only show up as neck pain. So what happens if you ignore this posture in the long term? So forward head posture is in the category of what I'd consider to be a progressive issue. So it's something that gains more momentum over time and doesn't get better necessarily on its own. So it's kind of like your yard if you forget to cut the grass or pull the weeds. What happens as far as the structure is that the ligaments can start to shorten, the discs can start to degenerate or shrink, and then bone spurs and different things can start to form as the body tries to stabilize the structure after it's been misaligned for so long. At the most advanced stage, the spinal canal can actually start to narrow, and that's what starts to present some of the bigger structural problems. All right, so what's actually causing forward head posture in the first place? So the human spine was built for walking, lifting, looking ahead, looking around, not just hours of being in a same position of being forward flexion on either phones or laptops or desks. So I know I've been talking about these things, the technology, the screens. It's not necessarily that they're bad, it's just that if our body can't adapt to that position over time, then that forward position starts becoming a more permanent structure rather than just a temporary posture. So once that adaptation sets in, it doesn't self-correct very easily. So how do we confirm that forward head posture is happening? So here's a test that we call the wall test. So stand with your feet, your butt, your shoulders against the wall. If your head doesn't touch in a resting position here without you feeling like you have to drag your head back or extend your head back like this, then there's a very good chance that something in the spine has started to shift forward, and that's where your body naturally wants to be. While the wall test is a great starting point, the x-rays actually confirm everything that we need to see. So this shows us exactly how far forward the head is relative to the shoulders and to the center of gravity, and if the natural curve in the neck has started to drift forward or straighten out. Our new patient special includes a full exam, your digital x-rays with a visual report from Posture, and exact spinal measurements that give us a custom corrective plan just for you. You leave with a copy of your x-rays and a really clear picture as far as what it takes to correct it, and the link is in the description below. So what are most people doing that's keeping them stuck in this forward head posture position? So many approaches really only address symptoms like muscle tightness, and they never actually touch the structural cause. And the symptoms keep coming back because nothing has changed with the structure underneath. So Amazon products like this neck orthotic may make sense, but we really don't know until we see what your specific neck misalignment is that we confirm with x-ray. So what does long-term correction of forward head posture actually look like? So correction requires 4 things all working together. So the first is specific spinal hygiene exercises that are prescribed exactly to your measurements based on the most up-to-date chiropractic research. The second is a series of specific chiropractic adjustments that we taper down from 3 visits per week as the spine starts to stabilize. The third is a cervical orthotic or traction to be done at home, which helps reinforce curve correction and bringing the head back to a normal center of gravity. The fourth element's time, so it can take 12 to 18 months for full structural correction, though most patients feel significant improvement within the first 4 to 6 weeks. What we do is we track progress with progress exams and different checkpoints that we want to see really start to improve within certain time frames so that we know that we're on track. At the end of 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we will re-x-ray to make sure that everything's improving. If this gave you a clear picture of what it takes to correct forward head posture, what it does to your spine and to your nervous system, and if you know somebody who could benefit from this, please share this with them. Our new patient special link is in the description below, and that includes your full exam, x-rays, nerve scans, and a custom corrective plan for you in our Sarasota office. Subscribe for a new video every week, and I'll see you in the next one.